بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. الحمد لله. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah to our our student Eddie Abdul Dayan. Listen, so the first thing this is the third recording, and the first thing something has been on my mind that I felt I wanted to share, that I usually do in the first lesson, is to kind of set a standard in terms of what are we doing, right? So firstly, we need to look at our niyyah, our intention. And I mean, if we look at any book of hadith or in volumes of hadith, one of the first hadith that most of those books usually start with is this book on, the hadith on niyyah. So for us, we need to remind ourselves that the whole thing, why we're here, is to learn to read Quran. And our intention is to be able to go through this entire course, and at the end of it, to be able to read Quran. And I'm mentioning this for the mere fact that when you're going to touch the Quran, we have to have wudu. So even with this course, we make sure that we have wudu, even though that this little booklet is not Quran, but in preparation as part of our niyyah from the get-go. I mean, our niyyah is to do this to be able to read Quran. So already now, because that is our niyyah, we make sure we have wudu. I mean, this is not Quran, but here you can see this is the name of Allah. So we don't want to handle anything that has the name of Allah without wudu. So that's the first thing. Then secondly, with regard to niyyah, I'm going to mention a quick story. And these videos, my intention is not to to keep them under 10 minutes. The last two videos were 7 and 8 minutes each. So I'm happy with that. A quick story with regard to niyyah. I had one student when I taught this course more than 10 years ago in Gudud Masjid. His name was Rafiq, and he couldn't read Quran, but he had already planned to go on Hajj that year. And he came and he heard that I was going to do the course at the masjid there, and he said, I'm coming and I'm not missing a lesson, because I want to sit in the haram of Makkah in front of the Kaaba and read Quran one day when I go. And alhamdulillah, he came every night to the course. I think it was twice a week we had. And eventually that year he went on Hajj. And alhamdulillah, he returned from Hajj. He completed the course with us, and he came back from Hajj and he said, Sheikh, I have you to thank that I was able to sit in the Haram of Makkah and I was able to read Quran. So that, those two things I want us to bear in mind in terms of our intention. We have to have high himmah, high aspirations. Our aspiration is to be able to connect ourselves with the Book of Allah. So for those two reasons, we can't, take shortcuts. So inshallah, with that said and done, just again, yesterday we looked at the letters. I have them zoomed in here on Sin, Ta, and Ra. Those are the first three letters that you cover in this course. And again, like we said, it's purposefully jumbled up. Normally, every course that teaches the Arabic letters, they start with alif, this one over here, then they go to ba, and usually we found when we taught this, especially to younger students, they memorize it. But then when you point randomly, then they don't know what it is. And for that reason, we jumbled it up. Again, like I said, this course, I didn't come up with it myself. I don't know where someone found it, and then I, just kind of, let me say, kind of just refined it. So then we focused on these sounds. So you said you were saying that, look, basically there are three basic sounds. A, I, U. That's the essence of the sounds in Arabic. Whereas if you look at English, and these sounds are basically the vowels. In English, you have A, E, I, O, U, and you have A, E, A, I, A. Those are the sounds in English. That's where we get our sounds from. And then obviously the elongated sounds that, and the doubles or mixed sounds, blends and so on. They call it blends now in school. But in Arabic, it's way simpler than that. And so that's why I want to quickly just have a look at this. A, I, and U, we looked at yesterday becomes an, in, and un. And this little dotted thing represents where a letter would be. So if this sign, this what we call haraka, sound movement, haraka means movement, sound movement is above the letter, any letter. If we take that sign and we put it above this letter here, this letter is seen, then you'll just say sa. Okay? And if it's below the letter, then you will say si. And if it's this one, which is also above the letter and looks like a 9, then we say su. So there already we have 3 sounds for one letter. If this one is on the scene, yeah.
Ask a question.
Yeah.
So if the scene was just without any of those things on it,
Then it's just seen.
Okay.
So the name of the letter is seen. So what we are now looking at is, yeah.
And if you add those letters, so basically then you start with the beginning. So that becomes stop.
That's it. So that's what I mentioned yesterday I think in the second lesson. If let's just go there quickly. Yeah. So if I wrote out the word seen. You know, we call this Arabic diacritical marks. But anyways, so this letter, the name of the letter is seen. But if we put a sound on the scene, we just keep the front of it, just s. So we'll just say s. The same with this letter here, it's ta. We have this bowl carrying 2 dots. The letter itself is called ta. But if there's a sound, then we just keep the front and we say the front of just the t with the, if there's a on it, ta. Okay? So let's go back there quickly. A, I, and U. Right?
Yeah.
A, I, and U. An, in, un. Then this one takes the sound away. Whereas these ones provide sound, this one takes the sound away, which means if the scene finds this one, or the scene has this one on it, this is called the sukun. And we saw over here, it sometimes looks like this also, like this little thing here. Okay? So sometimes it's a full circle, sometimes it's just like a half circle like this. And it's called the sukun. If a scene has a sukun, we'll just say s. Okay?
Okay.
Then this shadda or tashdeed, this basically means if the scene has a tashdeed on it, means there's 2 scenes. Okay, but that we'll deal with later on. For now, we only want to deal with sounds, a, I, u, an, in, un, the one that takes the sound away, and then the elongated sounds. A, I, u. All right, in the Quran, they look a little different, you know, but we'll deal with that. We're just familiarizing ourselves with what we may come across and what we need to do when we see these things. So then we say there's combinations. If we have this a, so here now we haven't covered these letters. This is a alif, this is a ya, and this is a waw. The a sound, if it's combined with the alif, it causes to elongate. Again, that is not part of our lesson. When we get there, we'll deal with that. Okay? Just know that again, it's still only a, I, and u, an, in, and un. A combination of the a with the alif makes, again, a elongated sound. A combination of the I sound with the ya and sukun makes an elongated sound. And the u, that looks like a 9, if it's combined with this letter, all right, these two look very similar. You see this 9, this u sound, and this is a wow. If the wow has a sukun on it, the letter is w, wow, all right? But if it's sukun, what does the sukun do? It takes the sound away. So it's just w. So if you take the u and you put it with a w, it's u. Okay? Again, this is not part of our lesson. I just show this is how simple it is. Same with this one. This letter is called ya, but there's a sukun on it. So if you take the sound away from the ya, you're still left with the ya. And if you put the I with a ya, I. Okay? Anyways, we'll get there. So what are the 3 basic sounds? A, I, u, an, in, un, a, I, and u. A, I, and u can be with an elongated sound like this, or a combination like we see here with these 3. Then the only 2 that are slightly different is when the a sound is combined with the waw and the sukun, and the a sound is combined with the ya and sukun. That's a, or o and a. Okay? O and a. All right, now let's get into the letters. The sounds will come afterwards. Okay? I want us, because we've now looked at this very briefly, looked at these three letters, Sin, Ta, and Ra. Like I said, I've provided practice space here just for the writing, just, so that while you are practicing saying it, you might as well practice writing it. It's not, not mandatory, but it's just something that, all right, to get used to seeing. So the writing is what, so that we can get used to seeing the scene. What am I looking for? I'm looking for two smaller bowls with a third bowl. Two smaller bowls with a third bowl. The ta, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a singular bowl with two dots. And where are those two dots? Above the letter. The ra, I don't know how to describe the ra, but it looks like a half moon or something like that, or, a crescent. But let's look at the pronunciation. Sin is as simple as s, the letter S. Ta is as simple as the letter T. S and t. Nothing more fancy than that. The letter Ra is like the letter R. However, the Ra, we have to take caution, or have to be careful with only pronouncing one Ra. We don't say R. It's not Ra, just one R. Ra. Ra. Okay, so let's quickly just drill this one, the pronunciation, correct pronunciation. Sin.
Sin.
Ta.
Sin. Ta.
Ra.
Ta. Ra.
That's it. Okay, as simple as that. So now what did we deal with? We dealt with three letters. These three letters, we're going to see 4 golden rules of mutaharrik. Harf with a haraka. A letter is called a harf. When we put the sound on, the haraka is the sound movement. There's 4 important rules that we need to bear in mind. We said the sound for a is just a. When I say don't drag, it means don't make a into a for no reason. A just stays a. So if I put a sound on the scene, the a above the scene, it will just be sa. There's no need. Some people, they hear people recite, A'udhu billahi minash shaytan. It sounds like people are dragging and pulling. Now they someone want to pull and drag whenever they can.
Yeah.
This is normal. I think it must be pulled to make it look nice. But there are times and places when to pull, when to do those elongations, okay? When there's muds and so on. For now, rule number 1 with a sound, don't drag when it's not necessary. Number 2, also don't jerk. For example, if I put the sound on the scene, I don't say sa. Just sa. Okay? Just sa. As simple as that. Same with ta. If I put the a on the ta, it'll just be ta. Plain and simple. Ta. If I put the a on the ra, it will be ra. Ra. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do the sin, the ta, and the ra with the 3 sounds that we've covered, that we've just briefly looked at. So sin can be sa, si, su. What did we say? Don't drag, don't jerk, don't pause, and don't break breath. Okay? So don't pause, meaning if I have something like this, here we have a sin combined with a ra, combined with a ta. So now I want to see, so here we can see, how do we know this first letter here is a sin? It has the 2 smaller bowls. Let me zoom a little bit. The 2 smaller bowls, and then the third deeper bowl is there, but it automatically goes into the ra. So the sin, each one of the letters, they have a particular form that they take. For example, the sin, when it's on its own, looks like this. But the sin can be connected to the front of another letter, right? And it will slightly change. The ra kind of looks the same. In this case, the ra is in the middle. The ta cannot connect to the ra. There's no way to connect the ta to the ra, so that's why the ta is separate. So what did I say about don't pause and don't break breath? This I will say sin. There's no sounds here, so we're just saying the letters. Sin, ra, ta. I'm not going to say sin, ra, ta. No. I look at it, I first try and make sense of it in my head. Okay, that's a sin, that's a ra, that's a ta. Sin, ra, ta. One time. Okay? Let's look at the next combination we have here. We have the sin, we have the ta, the ra. The sin has 2 smaller bowls and then a third deeper bowl. The ta is a singular bowl, 2 dots on the top. It is its indicating sign. 2 dots on the top. If I see that, I know it's a ta. The ra, okay, I think we can see that the ra looks like a little half moon type of thing. crescent moon type of thing. So let's see how they combine the sin, the ta, and the ra. Here we have the sin. 1, 2. The third one goes straight into the ta. So this is where it starts to get a little difficult. But if we know what we're looking for, there's the 2 indicating dots. So that must be a ta. And it's on top, so it must be a ta. The ra, our crescent, it's there. It's at the end of the word. No problem. I'm going to go down here now. Here we have ra in the beginning. What we now learned, ra can be connected from behind it, but it cannot be connected from the front. So this is something particular about ra. Sin let's look at sin. Here sin was in the beginning. Here sin also in the beginning. Here sin in the middle. And sin can also be found at the end. We'll see that, right? Ta can also be in the beginning. Here it's in the beginning. Here it's in the middle. And here it's in the end. But ra, nah, doesn't connect from the front of it, from the back of it. Okay? So let's look at this example. We have ta, again, the 2 dots. We have the sin, and we have the ra. Here, ta connected straight to the sin. Okay, wait. Let's check this a bit more closely. Here we have the bowl of the ta, the 2 dots. That's ta, definitely. Here we have the smaller bowls of the sin, and then the third one is there, and it's going into the ra. So that has to be a ta, a sin, and a ra. I think that's where we'll start.
Alhamdulillah. So a ta without anything is a ta, right?
Yeah.
But now, let's say I add the little stroke on top of it, which is the a.
Yeah, that's called the fatha.
Then what does it become? Because ta is already ta.
No, remember, ta and ta.
Ta.
Yeah, ta.
Ta. Ta. So that's how elongating it.
For example, in one of the surahs in the back, maybe you know the surah, ta-bat.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a mushadda on the ba there, so we say tabbat. We don't say tabbat. We say tabbat. It's just ta.
Yeah. Okay.
You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
For example, alam tara kaifa. You know alam tara kaifa?
Yeah.
Okay. Alam tara kaifa. We don't say the letter is the name of the letter as we saw it here. The name of the letter is ta, but if there's a sound on it, it's ta. Alam tara kaifa. So we can actually use that as an example for ta ra, and then after that is the kaf, which we haven't done. Alam tara. That's from Quran, in the back of the Quran. So just ta. So the sin again will just be sa or si or su. But remember, there's a difference between sa and sa. We're not jerking. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Remember, the 4 rules, don't drag. We're not saying sa for no reason. If there's only a fatha, we just say sa. All right?
Yeah.
We're not jerking. We're not saying sa. Just sa. Sa.
Okay.
Si.
So,
sa.
the question quickly then, so when we're memorizing this Quran, and then it's more of a, then you find like the tajweed, but I think a bit longer and it's a bit more melodious whereas we read it. Some of those things that you might have, stretched out a bit.
Before you continue, check this out. This course introduces tajweed already on page 3. So we're covering tajweed. Already on page 3, we cover tajweed. It says, if meme is found with mushadda, it must be read with ghunna. Ghunna is very, very popular. Ghunna is very, very popular when it comes to reading with tajweed. For example, I explain. Here you have, and I mean, you haven't done the letter meme yet, but let's do this one. Tamura. Yeah, because it's a meme, ghunna means I have to slight nasal sound and a slight hold. All right. If I didn't make ghunna, I would say tamura. But with ghunna, it's tamura. The slight nasal sound and a slight more of a hold. Okay, but we'll get there. Don't worry. And then even I mean, let's say this is page 4, letter of qalqala. So as we introduce the letters, I introduce the rules of tajweed also. So by the end,
Okay.
inshallah, the idea is not only to be able to read, but also to be able to read with tajweed, inshallah. Let's end this recording there, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Shukran. How do I end? Oh yeah.